What can you do to make it easier for yourselves as parents, and kind of help you to unstress a little bit? So I've got 10 points, which kind of, I think, pretty simple. Some you'll have heard before, that hopefully will help. And I'm happy to take questions. So the first one is, let's just keep a sense of perspective about this, and be kind to yourself. I think I've said before on this forum, you're overseeing the learning at home. And in many respects, you're doing a harder job than we as teachers that would do in the classroom. Why? You've probably got multi-ages that you're trying to manage. You've not had formal training. You're working with limited resources, and you've still got to do your day job, whatever that may be. So this is going to end at some point. We recognize that all the work that we're sending out to you, there will be gaps in their knowledge. They won't be as consistent as they need to be doing it, and we'll pick that up when we get them back in, whenever that is. So the other thing about a perspective, you're able as parents to do something that we as teachers can't do. Let yourself off the hook about trying to deliver the national curriculum as it is. There's a whole wider curriculum that you guys could be enriching and doing that we would never cover. And use this time, if it's 3-5 weeks, to see, well, what other things am I going to do with my youngster? Because we're the ones that have got the responsibility to make sure the course is covered and the curriculum's covered. But actually, we can't do what you do in this. The second point is an obvious one. Keep it regular. There's got to be routine. I hope you've all kind of set out some rules of engagement, i.e. this is how it's going to be. You can't hope to try and mirror the school day. 9 till 3, 6 hours. We don't keep them occupied for that length of time. If you're in the primary sector, there are regular breaks. You may have help in there. They move from activity to activity. If you're in the secondary sector, you're going from lesson to lesson. You've got breaks. They're talking to their friends. They're working in groups, etc. So I would suggest you keep the regularity of a routine, i.e. get up, get dressed, brush your teeth, wash your face, come downstairs. But don't try and mirror the school, what you would do in school. So linked to that, keep it short. The advice that I've read for the little ones, really 3 small short blocks works, or a maximum of 2 hours for the little ones. Key stage 1, really 3 hours is good. Key stage 2, 4 hours, and obviously the older ones you play it by ear, but have regular breaks. The third point I wanted to make was about keep it organised. The best teachers are organised. You know what you're going to teach, you know when you're going to teach, and you've got it all ready before you step into the classroom. So likewise at home, keep that element. So get your youngsters to organise themselves at the end of the day, so you know where you're starting the next day. Fifth thing, I think I'm on my 5th point. Keep them active. I don't know if anybody doing the PE with Joe or whatever his name is, but keep them active. It's great outdoors, preferably. Obviously, we're all having very different lockdown experiences, but activity isn't just about exercise. It literally is get up, break, do something else, come back. Think about how we learn as adults. I'm trying to study at the moment, and I cannot work solidly for an hour. I get distracted. I'll get up, I'll walk away from the desk, I'll do something else, I'll stretch, I'll walk outside, see how bad my garden looks, and then come back to it. You have to manage that for the children, but get them active. Even better if you can have some kind of physical activity. Number 6, keep it simple. Simple, simple, simple. Incorporate, if you can, into the learning into everyday life. If you've got little ones, everything's a learning opportunity, isn't it? So you're baking a cake, why not just throw some of the flour on the surface and get them to write the letters formations in the flour? you're still doing the activity of baking the cake, but you're actually doing something very practical with them as well. Conversations, talking to them, etc. 7.7, keep it moving and flexible. Be flexible. The best teachers read the situation. This is the hard slog, folks. They've had 4 weeks away from friends, etc. You've now got how many odd weeks we've got left. Your children are going to be grumpy. They're going to be resistant. Great teachers don't get frustrated at the child for not learning. We go, we haven't taught you it right. How can we come at it again? So change it, just keep it moving, change the activity if they're not getting it. Try not to create a battleground in the home, which will then confuse some of the roles. And there's a point to note, sometimes children suffer from what we call cognitive overload. You're just giving them too much, too quickly. So that's when you just have to stop the bus, as I call it, and just unpick it a little bit and take a break. Number 8, and I've just got a couple more. Obviously, restrict screen time, lots of online learning, etc. But do restrict that. Some good practice is that you have a phone prison or a device prison, where you're literally sitting and you're talking and you're reading aloud, or etc. So that's just be mindful of that with all the online learning. And then linked to that, on the other side, there are loads of additional resources. The DFE have released some quite good resources Monday just gone. There's the Oaks Academy that they've set on, which is online teachers actually delivering lessons. There's resources for the SEN. So if you go onto the DFE website, there's actually some age-specific resources and links to other websites as well. So it's all out there, as well as what your school's providing for you. And then the final thing, and I'd say as a teacher to you guys as parents, keep an eye on your child's well-being. You know, they're missing friends. They're actually missing us as teachers, you know, the good ones anyway. They're missing the structure of the day. It's actually a very nice part of the academic year for the children. You think you've got end of term activities, some were going abroad on enrichment activities. There's rites of passages like proms that can't happen, external vacation, all of this stuff that we're having to rethink what to do. That's got an impact on them, you know. And yes, we're mindful that when they come back through the doors, we're going to have to address that part, as well as the anxiety of this whole situation that we as adults are struggling with. How much more, say, the youngsters in our care. So keep an eye on your child's well-being, not just as a parent, but even more so, which I'm sure you're doing.